to get down to business? Join seasoned entrepreneur, community leader, and Army veteran Scott Shalom Klein, who will take you behind the scenes with those who work in America's small business scene and speak with leaders making an impact, creating jobs, and telling their story in entrepreneurship. So let's get down to business. On AM 560, The Answer, here's your host, Shalom Klein.
And indeed, we're all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship and business. We talk all about small business. In high-stakes command and organizational leadership, the greatest tool in your arsenal isn't raw technical expertise or a grand strategic vision. It is the ability to hold conversations that truly matter. I mean that. Every organization is defined by what its leaders say and how they choose to listen. The smallest elements of daily communication, your word choice, your framing, your tone, and even your strategic use of silence combine to build or quietly erode institutional trust. My guest today is a master executive advisor who has spent over 20 years designing learning experiences that transform workplace culture. Shawn Hunter is the president and founder of Mindscaling, former VP of Leadership Solutions at Skillsoft, and the best-selling author of Small Acts of Leadership and Outthink. In his brand new book, Small Words of Leadership, The Hidden Power of Everyday Language, he breaks down how intentional everyday communication, subtle signals, and human connection drive real performance in an age of AI noise. Shawn, welcome to Get Down to Business.
Hi, so good to be here.
Absolutely. You argue that a company's entire culture is defined by small language choices. Again, that word selection, the framing, tone, and strategic silence. So how do these subtle everyday verbal signals either build organizational trust or quietly tear it down?
Yeah, the cues that people around you get from your tone, the people you pay attention to at the table, who you give time and airspace to, it matters a great deal because everyone's looking at you. If you're the manager or the leader, you own a landscaping company or any kind of small organization, people are paying attention to the language that you use and they're behaving accordingly. So, you know, your tone and the way you can either uplift or diminish people matters a great deal.
Sure, that makes sense. And in your book, you introduced the 3-level conversation model. I'll say it again, the 3-level conversation model, moving from the surface words being spoken down to internal dialogue and the broader cultural message. How can a leader train themselves to manage that second level, their own internal dialogue, when entering a high-friction meeting, which I know is so familiar to many of our listeners?
Right. You have to remember, on the surface, there's what you say. So you're responding to somebody in real time. They ask you, what's the deadline on this deliverable, or how much should we move in this, or what's our target for our next sales? And the way you respond is really saying what the culture believes in. So you're not just giving them a target. You're telling them how much to stretch, how much you believe in resilience, how much you could expect more of them over time. So just beneath your words is your values. Your values are what may be unsaid. So you have to give time and gravity to your word selection because they really do give the nuance of the values of the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. And we often think about leadership requiring constant eloquence and immediate answers, but you actually place a heavy emphasis, as I've said several times already, on the strategic use of silence and intentional listening. How does pausing and holding space allow a leader to actually exert far more influence than simply dominating the room?
Yeah, this is hard. I mean, this is so hard. This is like the noise in the attic. You're having a conversation with someone and you're thinking about your next conversation, or you're thinking about you left the oven on, or you're thinking about the text you just got. And if you can acknowledge that and then remain in the moment, and if you have to, you can simply in your own mind reiterate what you hear them say quietly. And then when they finish, because they have some point they want to get across, they want to tell you, give it a beat. I mean, don't jump in, because the old saying is waiting to talk is not listening. So you don't want to be constantly waiting for your turn to talk. by giving it a beat, just a couple seconds, then you can digest it, they can, and then you can respond in kind. And ideally, you want to reiterate what they said and say back to them, did I get that right? Did I hear that accurately? And then they'll feel heard, they'll feel seen, and then they can correct you or affirm you.
Absolutely. And you outline a specific 3-part formula for executive apologies: acknowledging the wrong, expressing genuine remorse, and offering specific repair. I have to say, Shawn, I've hosted the show now for 12 plus years, and we have not talked on this topic, and I'm so excited to explore this with you. Why do so many leaders struggle with offering real repair, and how does a proper apology reinforce authority rather than weaken it?
Yeah. This is a chapter in my book in which I'm talking about apologies. And there's kind of a personal story attached to it in which a family member estranged themselves. They basically, excommunicated themselves from our family. And it was really painful because we were very close to them as a child. And he took his family and he disappeared for 20 years. And maybe this is common among, your listeners, where extended families have these difficult moments. And he reemerged at my mother's memorial, at her funeral. And at that, he basically wanted to tell me how she was wrong and I was wrong. And he didn't, it was such an opportunity to say, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry I left you for so many years. I'm sorry that we didn't have a time to come back and find each other. And he was so committed to being right that he was unable to reconnect. And I think that's where we get fallible, which is we're absolutely unable to admit mistakes. And that is in and of itself a mistake.
Yeah, I'm chatting with the author of the brand new book, Small Words of Leadership, The Hidden Power of Everyday Language. And that is Shawn Hunter, president and founder of Mind Scaling. He's also the former vice president of leadership solutions at Skillsoft and the best-selling author of Small Acts of Leadership and Outthink. We're going to link, of course, to all of Shawn's work via our podcast and our show notes, of course. But I do have to bring in the 2 letters that are dominating, oh my gosh, so many conversations. That's AI. As artificial intelligence makes generating those emails, reports, strategic memos, and the list goes on, it seems completely frictionless. But Shawn, you contend that human connection is becoming our most vital leadership asset. Yes. How can leaders ensure their digital communication stays rooted in authenticity rather than automated, sterile noise?
Yeah, I have 2 answers here. And the first is that I believe that what we're being sold online in this new age version of stoicism, in which you see that alone man or woman in the ice bath with the green smoothie and the yoga and the morning sunrise, and they're always alone. There's no child running to greet them. There's no deep, meaningful conversation. And the whole point of this narrative being sold online is that solitary and isolation is a form of resilience. And I believe that is absolutely, completely wrong. And that by connecting with others in our authentic self, being open, and I'll close with this small note about bringing imaginative banter and joy to the conversation. So AI can answer anything really across the board in data and analytics, but they can't bring imagination and play to a conversation in the way that a person is. So I really encourage that.
Yeah. And lastly, for the business owners and the leaders that are listening today who want to immediately improve their team's culture, what's one small word or subtle language shift that they could adopt in their very next meeting?
I understand. Or even better, I don't understand. Walk me through it. Show me what you mean. Give the other person an opportunity to show you their thinking and their path forward, and then give yourself to that understanding and be open to learning something new. In that way, they'll be seen, they'll be heard, and you will be respected more as a leader for giving them that honest attention.
I understand. Well, thank you, Shawn Hunter. I appreciate that so much. Great advice throughout our conversation. Again, the book is The Small Words of Leadership, The Hidden Power of Everyday Language. How can people find the book? How can they learn more from you and your team?
You can find the book anywhere you buy books, online or digital, and you can find me at shawnhunter.com. That's SHAWN hunter.com. Thanks so much.
Yeah, absolutely a pleasure. Can't wait to bring you back on to talk about something that's just truly important, not spoken about enough in our business community. We're going to squeeze in a quick break here on the show all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. Don't touch that dial. As always, you get on my website, shalomklein.com, or of course, go on your favorite podcast app. Just search for Get Down to Business. But friends, subscribe, rate, review, and share so you don't miss a single episode. We'll be right back.